Everyone. I hope you all having a lovely day so far. I'll try to make this one fun and informative. I hope you guys don't fall asleep. I know it has been a long day and the beer is just behind us. So yeah, without further ado, we'll talk about why team composition is a big deal and no more heroes. There was a hero who saved me just now, but promise this will make sense. Who am I? That's me holding a very nice Brasilijska Polska flaga, which is a very cool gift. Fun facts that absolutely nobody asked for. I'm a cloud engineering manager at Pega. Pega is located in Krakow. We have office all over. I started my career in support and application support, operations, whatever you call it. Then I went to DevOps, so now I'm on leadership. I live 6 years in Poland, and I really love it. It's an awesome country. And I give you one person to guess which is my favorite Polish word, and it starts with K. Ah, come on, spoiler. Yeah, it's kombinować. That's awesome. So, let's move on. Boop. Too much. Okay. So, why should you care about team composition? Why should you as an engineer care about team composition? Because if you don't, as a leader, I'm worried. And I'll make it a bingo edition. So, here's how it's going to work. Every time you have a phrase on the screen that relates to you, just count one in your head. You can also raise your hand, and we'll talk why this is the case. So, first problem. You have waited several hours or even days for a different team to unblock your work. Who had that? Okay. Count it. You need to sum it up. Second one, you had to save the day by fixing something very urgently, possible during crazy hours of very coffee-filled rage. All right, some people are getting it. Third one, you got redirected several times for different people or teams trying to look for someone that owns this stuff. Okay, cool. And lastly, okay. You get multiple email alerts or messages per day without any value, meaningful information or action required from you. All right, so sum it up. All your results will be now. And bingo results are, if you got 0, I think you don't work with IT. Probably that's the case. If you have 1 or 2, not bad. Some companies have it better. Yeah, not all of us are lucky. And if you have 3 or 4, I feel you, bro. That's pretty tough. Yeah, those are very common problems, and it's tough. Indeed. So, why is this a problem for realsies, right? Let's talk about 2 studies real quick that were, since 2006, this is being observed by many people on the academia. And research says that when developers' communication patterns match the software architecture, projects were more successful. We'll dig into that. Don't worry too much about it. Second study also said that how software organization architecture align shows some results as well. And we'll go into that in a moment too. So you see the pattern, right? And I'll try to summarize the problems that this can cause, like not having good teams alignment. Dependency bottlenecks, communication gaps, high connectivity load, inconsistent practice, scope creep, skill gaps, technical debt, silent information, lack of autonomy, misaligned goals, and all of that causes frustration. So those are just a bunch of problems I listed, but really, it sucks, right? When you cannot find the right people to do the job, or something like this. Ooh. I'll hold it now. This can cause a lot of problems that affect you directly or indirectly. So what explains that? What is the theory behind that? What really, what's really the issue with that? So before we dive into this rabbit hole, which is the meat for this presentation, I want to have 2 definitions when I say team composition, which is what we're talking about. First is macro. So when you think macro, think big, right? Think how different teams interact with each other, how the organizations even talk to each other, and not really inside the team, because that's micro. So micro is how you deal with people inside your team. How do humans interact with each other? We'll cover both of those things. And starting with macro. So let's go. Let's start with macro and what it is about. So I want to see some hands up. Who here heard about Conway's law? Oh, come on, guys. I thought it was news. So Conway's law is the very fundamental theory that will explain much of what I have to say today about macro. And it says that any organization that designs a system will produce a design whose structure is a copy of the organization's communication structure. It's like, what? Okay, that and nothing is the same thing. So a very wise guy, Raimundo, said that if you have 4 groups working on a compiler, you get a 4-pass compiler. That's a way to put it. But I'll make it even easier with you, and wow, that's, okay. So I'll make it even easier to you, and let's run a quick scenario to really put it in practice. And how I plan to do that is preparing a birthday party. Pretty simple. You have some child, the anniversary, and you need to prepare a birthday party with a team. Imagine that. So how is the setup? We have 3 teams, 3 people or more, you decide. Basically, one will take care of the cake, one about the music, and one about the decoration. And the challenge is that those persons live far, they don't have time to prepare your usual dev stuff. So let's start. How does that look like? Too much. Yeah, so first scenario is chaos. Everything goes wrong, and we'll dissecate why that went wrong and how can we fix it. So, team 1. So team 1 is responsible for the cake, so they just go to the local shop. They know the cake is great, and they have good quality and best cake practices, so I hope that rings a bell. And when they go there, they get a good offer. There's like this jungle-ish cake with a very good price. They get a discount, so they have a very good investment. They buy it. Team number 2 prepares a playlist with country songs because they researched whoever applied to go to that party, and most of people like country songs, so knowing your user, right? And the third team decorates the party with rockets and astronauts because they had some decoration remaining from last year, some reusability, you know, time saving, cost saving, so pretty good. But when they put these things together, the party looks a bit weird, right? You have country music and astronaut decoration and jungle cake that doesn't go along very well. And why that is, right? Let's look at the root cause analysis for more or less why this happened. First is what happened. The first important thing is like path of least resistant arc distribution. That just means like nobody cared about thinking beforehand how those teams were put together or what they want to achieve. So we have a bunch of people, you take care of cake, you decor your music, and that's it, right? And there is no team correlation where they want to be in the party and what they're going to do before. Second thing is that it was siloed decision-making. If you take each team individually, they make good decisions. They didn't spend a lot of money. They researched the user, but it was a decision for their own goals, right? In the end, when they joined everything, it was not really great. Information was never exchanged, so they never talked to each other, and there was no end goal defined for both of the teams. They just wanted to have a party. That's it. So let's fix that. How are we going to fix that? There's something, after this Tarzan meets Cowboy Bebop party, they apply something that we call the inverse Conway maneuver, which is a very fancy name. It looks super hard, but it's actually pretty simple. The inverse Conway maneuver is a strategy where an organization intentionally designs its team structure to achieve a desired system architecture. In other words, organizations should evolve their team and organization structure to achieve a desired architecture. So let's dumb it down further and let's go back to our party. In this example, it means that during the next year, they decide to intentionally create the teams and intentionally create a cool party that makes sense. So what do? First of all, everyone on all teams, they meet together. So they define and they meet to agree on a party team. So let's sit down and say, what kind of party are you having? First of all. Then they separated teams on desired outcomes. This is very important keyword because they don't care about who is doing cake or what. They care about what outcome that will provide for whoever is attending the party. And they plan some feedback to talk about each other, how they're going between each team. So new teams were decided. There's less teams. One takes care of both cake and decorations. Those go along very well. And music and entertainment as well, so makes it easier. So let's apply that. Team 1, based on the data from the music team, they check this attendee musical preference, and they go to the local shop, and they ask for a country team cake. because most people like country music. In the same place, they find some matching team, and they strike a good view. So, looks much better, much more closer to reality. And team 2, on the other hand, they reviewed the cake of the car, and they removed some songs that were in the playlist because apparently children don't like music about trucks and beer, so they removed the worst ones. And based on that, they also added some play like bandits and cowboys to the kids to play. So they enhanced the experience. And the end result is much more coherent. Now we are achieving an end goal that makes sense, and everybody, all the outcomes form this beautiful party that you see on the screen. So, what is the takeaway about Conway's law in general? The first step in dealing with Conway's law is know not to fight it. This is Martin Fowler, 2022, so it took Martin Fowler 20 years to realize that. Imagine how long it would take for us, right? No, jokes aside. So that's really the takeaway. All right, now that we've been through that, how does that translate to a real-life scenario? You just told me a silly story. What is the deal with that? So typically, as Tomek rightly mentioned, who was on Tomek's speech just now? Okay, cool. So as he just mentioned, teams can be separated in a few different ways. One of them is functional. By the way, is Tomek here? No, I think he isn't. Okay, that's good. So they're separated by function. So front end, back end, DBA, QA support, etc. And sometimes by component or feature or product or whatever, right? So like search engine, authentication, logging, and monitoring. It really depends. Each organization has its own thing. So let's break down. We'll go step by step. So let's break down that architecture, and let's apply Conway's law to it and see how that will be before and after. So this is the first graphic. You can see we have front ends and back ends and DB teams in the back, a QA team in the middle doing some integration as well, and the ops team. Between those teams, you have the wall of confusion, which is basically just throwing the work to whatever team is next and don't care about it anymore. And you have your happy paths and your real work paths. Pretty standard, we all seen that. Now, according to team topologies, there are 4 fundamental types of teams, and I want to know who here read team topologies before I go further. Okay, pretty cool, awesome. If you didn't, you should, because it's an awesome book. So based on that, we have 4 types of teams. We have stream-aligned teams, we have enabling teams, we have complicated subsystem teams, and the last one is platform teams. DevX folks, that one is for you. So we'll go into each of them to learn what they do. And you should find your team type, like your team will fit in one of those for sure. So, stream-aligned teams. What is a stream-aligned team? What does it mean, right? A stream-aligned team is assigned to a specific flow of work, responsible for delivering customer value. So those guys, they're not product teams, they're not project teams, they're not clients, they are responsible for a whole journey, from start to finish. And what characterizes a stream-aligned team is end-to-end ownership. They are autonomy-focused. They get it. That's where the DevOps sauce really is, right? They deliver till the end. Second thing, they are cross-functional, hybrid heroes, so who are here knows about it. So it includes all types of people, some people doing more than one function at a time. Really depends on the needs, right? And they are focused on outcomes. So they are not focused on shipping features. They are not focused on fixing prod. They are really focused on really what they are getting away from developing. Let's put that in an example. So we're restructuring that old stuff. We're building a new team, a new organization from scratch, and we'll create a few teams. First one is the stream-aligned teams, 3 of them. We have the product search team, we have the checkout process team, and we have the user account management team. So imagine this is an e-commerce site like a Begro or something like that. No correlation. So you can see that the teams are not related with products. They're related with an experience. The product search team takes care about any search you do, right? So from end to end. Checkout process, same stuff. They take care about the whole process of checking out. So those are the work streams. You can see it starts on dev, finishes on prod, and we'll get to those parts in a moment, but that's our example, stream-aligned teams. Second, we have the enabling teams. Enabling teams assist teams by spreading knowledge, tools, and best practices. They act as internal consultants. They help teams adopt new technologies and methodologies. So this team actually doesn't deliver anything, but they serve to speed up enablement, specifically to streamline teams, because streamlined teams must be fast. They must be good. They must have autonomy. So we use enabling teams to make them go faster. Second thing, they help reduce cognitive load. Janusz, there's a lot of cognitive load in this one. You like it. So they have reduced dev cognitive load. This is extremely important to make teams get more creative and faster. And they get dynamically assigned based on goal or challenges. So they don't keep on your team forever. They don't have a specific duration. They will be there until they're needed. Then they are gone helping on other teams. They exist to not exist, which is a very noble goal. So here, how would they look like in our newly formed Abegro website? For example, we have the compliance and security team in 2 places here. They will facilitate the help to help the streamline teams to adopt compliance and security. Let's say the search team needs to store the search data safely. They don't know how to do that. They will lose many sprints looking up how to do that properly. That's where this team steps in, enables them, and helps them to achieve whatever they want. After they achieve it, that's it. They're gone. They will help someone else. Next one. Next one. Now? All right. So, complicated subsystem teams. The complicated subsystem teams is responsible for very, very, very specific type of knowledge. And not like Java code specific, I mean very specific type of workload. For example, very complex algorithms, very highly technical components like this high frequency trading, or think about something hard, mathematics or something like this. So it's mostly formed by subject matter experts, so people who really know the nitty and gritty. They're focused on complex problem solving. They are very, very niche. And again, they help reduce cognitive load, because imagine having that work being done by someone who also needs to do a lot of other stuff. That doesn't make sense. How that would look like. So now we added a recommendation engine team that acts as a service for the product search team. So this team will focus only on the search algorithm. They need to nail down it very well so people can buy more. So instead of putting this gigantic task to the search team, they create a recommendation engine team that can be used for other stuff as well. Now, last one, platform teams. Those are the heroes, but that's not a good thing yet. Platform teams, they provide internal services and platforms to accelerate the delivery by streamlined teams. Of course, they can help other teams as well, but their main goal is to protect the creativity, the cognitive load, and the speed of the streamlined teams. They focus on creating reusable infrastructure and reducing cognitive load. So, automation and reusability focus, delivering an amazing DevOps is the goal, and helping reduce cognitive load again to make that happen. And people can keep me honest here. I know some of you are DevOps. If I miss something, let me know later. So, they are the foundation of this whole new infrastructure. Everything that a platform team will do is to help all the other teams make sure they are following processes correctly, they have good experiences, they are ready to hit the ground running. So now that we talk about all the types of teams, how do they interact is a very interesting way, is a very interesting thing, and we'll talk about that right now. First thing is collaboration, then we have facilitation and acts as a service. So those are the main interaction ways between teams. That will look like this. For example, during the collaboration phase, it means that the teams are either discovering phases, in the discovery phase for a new technology, a new API, something they need to work together, or common problem solving, working on synergy areas. For example, let's say the checkout process team needs to work with the user account management to make the checkout faster or populate data. That can happen. They work, again, temporarily until that part of the solution is done. That's it. That's their collaboration done. Then there's facilitation, which is very important for enabling teams. During this phase, they will mostly enablement type, they will produce mentorship, consultancy, partnership with other teams to make sure they apply the best practices, they follow the standards. There's no product ownership, so they are not there to help you deliver, but they are there to make you good enough to deliver with whatever the business needs. And that's one-way road. They help you, you don't help them, quote unquote, because they're there for that matter. And this, I already provided this example before, so the compliance team is just helping, for example, the product search to safely store the data according to the compliance. So that's one example. Then X as a service works like exactly as you mentioned. This team work. Where's Lambo as a service? Oh, there you go, Lambo as a service. So you are X as a service team, and that's where the team provides something to be used by other teams. So it's one way you provide the service, they use it, and sometimes they can have both coexisting. They can also collaborate with you to develop something new. So produces service-like solutions. Collaboration and X as a service can coexist, and here you have the best example possible, which is the platform team providing the automation pipelines to all the stream-aligned teams on the organization. All right, that was macro, crazy ride. Still a few minutes, so let's talk about how does that affect me. So it's time to get micro. Cognitive load. Yes, that's the keyword of the year indeed. Cognitive load is the most important concept here because it will draw, it refers how is the total mental effort of your working memory. And this is for working, but cognitive load is something that we use for everyday tasks, to select clothing, to select what we want to eat, to make decisions. Should I go here? Should I go to work today? Should I not? What do I do, right? Every single decision takes a bit of that pie until you are exhausted. So, as a developer, cognitive load is like the CPU brain capacity to manage multiple activities at the same time, like coding, managing tools, even sometimes talking to people. So it helped us. It is more or less like this. And this is your brain after committing this small hotfix on Friday. Everything packed at 100%. Don't do that. But this is more or less, in a nutshell, how what is cognitive load, and every one of us have. And with that out of the way, let's talk about the hero anti-pattern. That's where no more heroes comes from. But let's define hero first, right? Because hybrid heroes are cool, I like them, they are awesome, but let's define hero for this context. Sometimes being a hero is a good thing. You're the good boy, you save the world, that's awesome. And sometimes, not really a good thing to be a hero, so I hope really the best example of hero out there. So when it comes to the anti-pattern, let's put it into things, right? Heroes spend the most time working under very high cognitive load. They are always under stress. They start on meetings, they finish on prod, releasing something real fast. So they're always very stressed. They have no time to do other things, which means they don't innovate on anything. They don't have time to learn the new stuff they want. They don't have time to think outside of the box, right? And they are more susceptible naturally to stress, burnout, and long working hours. Based on the bingo, I can see some heroes here. I hope that won't be the case, really. But yeah, usually they cannot cooperate very effectively. How can he onboard someone when he's saving production? That's pretty tough, right? And due to their reputation, they will keep being asked for. So people will remember the hero because he saved the day. Then they will call him again to save the day again because they know he saves the day. And that's perpetuating this never-ending cycle, which almost always makes them either leave the company, get stressed, or sometimes become a goose farmer like this guy. So after 20 years of Microsoft, this guy like, screw it, I'm creative. I will be a goose farmer. So I hope you don't become goose farmers. So to avoid letting a hero live enough to become a goose farmer, few things need to happen, right? First is well-distributed and well-scoped teams. That really helps you focus on what is important, really helps you to get a sense of satisfaction of doing your work and resolving these issues, right? Second thing, using the help of platform and complicated subsystems. You should not have to worry about some crazy algorithm you've never heard before. You shouldn't have to worry too much about setting up your dev environment like if outside of the normal. So, those teams are there to help you. You need to ensure that teams have autonomy and ownership. As you mentioned, the worst thing is wanting to fix something and you don't have access, or you need to upgrade for approval from a VP who has no clue who you are or what you're doing. So this is very frustrating. And properly distributing work among team members. That's also very good. Sometimes heroes naturally are more senior people even. They struggle to do that because they feel the ownership. They want to resolve something and they turn to burnout. So it's very important to keep that in check always. Not releasing on Friday is my last tip. That's usually just good advice. So, okay, so you told me what macro is, what micro is, how this affects me. So, okay, what do I do with that? How do I apply those findings, right? Let's talk about those principles when we are building teams. And Tomek also already mentioned what is building teams, connecting people, processes, resolving problems, and so on. Before I do that, let's have one more theory in mind. Yes. So let's talk about Dunbar's number. Who here heard about Dunbar's number? Anytime. Cool, okay. So Dunbar's number is a non-IT guy, completely unrelated, some biologist who, like almost 100 years ago, tested the cognitive limit of monkeys and human beings on how many relationships they can establish at the same time. Significant ones, like you can talk to people and know them and know their faces and families and so on. And it is 150 people, everyone included, family, friends, work, etc. But let's not focus on this number. That's not really the point that we can bring to building teams in IT, because rather, the key takeaways about this study are very important when it comes to cognitive load management. Keeping team size manageable prevent such overload. Imagine having to talk to 150 people. Come on, it's crazy, right? So keeping your teams short will help you manage those problems with communications. Exactly, smaller teams facilitate better communication. It's not a general rule. There is such a general rule. We'll talk about that, but you don't have a magic number, but keeping your team small makes a lot of sense. Keep communication easy. And team boundaries, having team with clear responsibilities, clear ownership, clear set of things they need to do. This is extremely important because you know who to find, where to go, and who to talk to, and that takes more cognitive load away from you. And finally, cultural cohesion, which is basically whole presentation from Tomek just now, which was great, is fostering these interpersonal connections. It's so much easier to have a good environment, a good relationship with people you work with when you have some degree of relationship with them, when you can correlate to them, when you can grab a beer in the after party with them. So you know that those things are really impacting how you perform. And this is what Jeff Bezos said 20 years ago, that a team should be small enough to be fed by 2 pizzas. Don't get caught by this number. The general idea is fine, like yes, you need smaller teams because they are agile and because of the cognitive load, but turns out I think I am a team probably, so 2 pizzas, I mean, give me a break, right? All right, so jokes aside, let's wrap this thing up. I want to give a few action points, so I'll give for people who have some leadership role or have more influence, because we know that impacts what you can do and what you cannot, and then we'll talk about dev. So as a leader, what you can do, go deeper into Conway's law. This is extremely important for the organization and the performance and, you know, moving people around. There's a lot of implications that are hidden and it's very hard to measure, so think about that, read about that. Second, it's experimenting with your team. Do some rotations, break the team in 2. Give them some ownership, give them some clear scopes. That will really make wonders. And if you can always revert stuff if that doesn't go well. Advocate to higher management. Sometimes it's not like your directors, VPs, and etc. are unaware. They don't care. Is that they are unaware. This thing takes away serious money from the company. Having people walk away because they're burned out is a risk for the company. It's a reputational risk. It's a health risk. So there is a lot of sense on teaching people above you that this is actually important and you need to be flexible. Rethink how to plan for outcomes. So think how you can resolve a problem rather than developing a feature. That's also will give your engineers more motivation to do stuff differently. And ebooks, books, audiobooks, whatever is your flavor, do them. They are awesome right there. We have the recommendation board, pretty good timing. Certainly go after those books because they will show you a lot of stuff that is not obvious. Cool. What about, what can I do if I am a dev? I'm not a manager. I cannot do any of this team stuff. What can I do? First of all, is inform, influence, and speak up. Although you might not have the power of putting the staff and opening the sea for the teams, you can always influence people. You can always share your opinion. You can always speak up and be a part of the change. So speak up. Bring this up. Especially if you're a senior. If you're a senior developer, you should think about your soft skills. This is very important. We'll discuss this about this probably on Open Spaces tomorrow. I hope so. Please, someone put that in. Also, join the interview process for new joiners because not sure if you realize, but everything we've been talking about is about teams. So it's about finding the right people for the right job. Naturally, interviews are crucial for this process. So interview the people who you know are going to the team, even if you just shadow. Grab your opinion, share some feedback. This guy will be working with you, right? So get to know him before, participate. Usually people are welcome to join those processes. And think about ownership, about resolving problems, not simply creating features. Don't be the guy like, oh, I did my job. There you go. So, you guys develop stuff you love, that develop because you like to. So think about resolving problems, not just pushing and running. And finally, try temporary rotations, internal movements, new experiences. That is pretty cool. Usually there's a very low cost for the company. Usually that will show you some different teams, some different aspects. You have a bigger picture that you can relate to, new people to relate to, or new code to type to. So it's pretty healthy experience. And if you can do that in your company, I certainly think it's a good idea. So, takeaways to wrap it up. Team composition is extremely context specific. So although I came here on the stage and I gave all these things to think about, every company is different. So I know some of this stuff might not apply as perfectly as it could. It really depends on your type of business, your company, your culture in the company. So there's no specific thing, but pick from that what you will and what you think it will work. Second thing, Conway's laws work, period. That's one of the very few laws in IT that actually works since '76 when this guy was actually advocating for that. This stuff works. Third point, be intentional and thoughtful when introduce team changes. So when I tell managers to, oh yeah, just experiment with your teams, put this team there, split this team here. This can be extremely powerful, but it can be extremely risky. You can kill the motivation of the team by doing that. You can separate people who really like to work together. You can separate the person who feels a lot of ownership from the code and putting them on something they don't know about, and they will lose traction. So be very, very mindful. Ask for feedback. Definitely think it through. Do it, but be careful. And consider how the teams interact in your organization. Sometimes you might be putting bottlenecks where they shouldn't be. Map it out. Use some lucid chart or whatever. Put them literally squares in the diagram and how they connect. Where can I improve? And always look for bottlenecks. A wise man once said, Goldratt, any time spent on non-bottleneck activities is wasted time. This is very, very true for anything. Here's some sources. We'll not go for them, but you can download the slides. Go deeper into that. There's a lot of cool studies about this topic. Most of them are mentioned here. My recommended books on the topic, I still need to add those three remaining. I added team topologies there. They're really, really great books overall. Especially this Empowered one is really awesome. It's about product management, product delivery process and so on. So go for them. Finally, they give the feedback. Please, please, please take some 5 minutes before you go home today or tomorrow. Give feedbacks to speakers. Give brutal feedback. We need it. We might not like it, but that's what we need. do it for me, do it for all the other speakers. We'll be very, very happy to do that with the inventory app. And last but not least, on the right side, you can find my LinkedIn. Feel free to connect. And in this side, there is a GitHub repository with the slides, so you can download, go through it, share with your friends. And cry, because my GitHub looks like an onion. You look like to it and you cry. There's nothing there. That's pretty much it. Any questions, anything, any comments? Sorry? Nothing yet. Hopefully I need to learn some stuff about gooses, but good point. Cool. Any other questions? Still have 5 minutes. Yes? I can. I will repeat the question, don't worry.
Okay. So let's assume that we have 3-person team and the communication between them is dead. Like they do not talk. They just do their work. How would you approach that from the dev's perspective and from the leader perspective?
Right. All right. So let's break it down. One thing before I go into the answer. As a dev, because as devs we have different personalities, we have different ways to communicate with people. Some of us are introverts, some of us are extroverts. So first of all is understanding your boundaries. Don't do stuff that you're not feeling comfortable with. With that said, you should look for answers. First, go to the leadership, to your manager, to whoever is responsible, because that's very important. They need to know how those interactions work. It's very valuable information. How can they make it better? But as a dev, you can consider a few things. If you already know this person has a reason why this communication broke down, maybe you can talk to them, maybe you can arrange something. You can try to, if you think the communication is not a personal problem, but a work problem, maybe try to suggest some changes like, oh, we can do a small meeting after stand-up just to talk about the tech things going on. Try to meet in the office if that's hybrid. Maybe that breaks a bit the ice, but there's no secret formula. Those are all suggestions. You need to understand why this is the case. As a leader, if you see such communication breakdown, it's extremely important to understand why, how those people work together, how they correlate, and do appropriate actions. Maybe these actions are moving them from another team, putting them in rotation. Maybe there's a capacity issue and you need more people. So you really need to see case by case, but it's important to speak up. Because if you don't, there will be those 3 people who don't talk to each other forever, and that's very bad. All right, any other questions? You guys want beer, right? I can see it in your eyes. Cool. So it was a pleasure being here with you today. I hope you had fun and learned something. I'll be here tomorrow so you can grab a coffee, and thank you very much. See you in the beer.